Excuse me, Mr. Isayama. I know Attack on Titan has been concluded at this point, twice so, but I do need you to actually sue something. Before we hop in this review of chapter 313 of My Hero Academia, please do me a favor and leave your own thoughts on the chapter in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, make sure you hit that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Now, let's get into it. What's up, guys? I got the pencil here, and here we are for the next chapter of My Hero Academia. Let's review chapter 313 of My Hero Academia, known as Flying Artillery Battery. I don't know why I did that. I'm so sorry. Let's just hop right into it. So, we open up with All Might again, and noticeably, I hadn't mentioned All Might in the past couple chapters, mainly because there was no way All Might was going to die to a random grenade, and apparently it was a perspective trick last time. Like, the grenade didn't actually get into the car, so it just bounced off, essentially. And golly, that's a strong car. And All Might says if it wasn't for Hercules, I'd been a goner. And like, that's cool and all, but golly, what's that car made out of? Like, it required whole thunder spears, and that's literally what they are. I don't care. That literally is just a thunder spear, except they don't have like a gauntlet to fire it out of. They're just throwing it. But wow, like, how come it survived a whole grenade that made a way bigger explosion but couldn't survive two piercing weapons? Like, I guess maybe because it's piercing weapons and it's not just like general explosion damage, but geez, that's kind of crazy for that car to be that durable and for it to not be mentioned. But I guess it was a special car from Brit. It was All Might, I mean, she probably got the transfer, he probably got the transfer done earlier. I'm about to say, maybe he got that girl away and now this is happening. But regardless of that, we see that they're definitely out to kill him. They have no care for who is in the vehicle until he finally pops out. However, the thing is, we don't get to hear a response, but All Might pulls out what looks like a backup phone that has a big old E on it. And I'm assuming that's Endeavor. I'm guessing that All Might just has a backup phone in general, just in case for any emergencies, but I wonder why Midoriya doesn't have one. Maybe he does, he just doesn't want to pull it out in front of Lady Nagant because it could cause too much trouble, but I feel like, especially later on in the chapter, if he did have one, he would have pulled it out, especially with how smart Midoriya is being. Let's get into that. But basically, All Might hops out the vehicle with the briefcase. I forget what's in the briefcase. Something important has to be in that briefcase for him to be holding on to it so tightly, but he has the phone in hand, he completes the call, or at least I'm assuming, because he straight up explains the situation as quickly as possible. The assassins, the boys being targeted, and then boom, they try to kill him with the thunder spears. And the thing is, I love how even though All Might is gone, and like they know that, like the All Might they know that was so powerful and dangerous and threatening is completely gone, at least as far as they know, that the guy still has like a little bit of fear to him before All Might even does anything. Like All Might's just there, stanced up, like whole hand on the ground, briefcase back, and one of the dudes is like, All Might, and he's like, it's a mix of shock and confusion. Like you can tell that the other guy's telling him not to stop, and like there's this confusion because they have this image of All Might in their head over the years of this massive, powerful, unstoppable hero, and then you have the All Might that exists now, this real All Might, this fragile man, and it shakes them up for a second. Like if they didn't hesitate, All Might would be dead. He wouldn't have any time to do this cool speech. But the thing is, due to the fact that they hesitate because of the All Might they knew, it's cool stuff. Basically, I love the historical remnants that certain figures in the My Hero Academia world have on it. Like, even though All Might is this tiny, frail little man right now, he still carries this weight and heft and like presence to him that makes other people fear him. And I think that's very, very cool that that's a lasting impact because of all he's done. And then you see them try to go in for the kill, but then All Might, he puts some bass in his voice. Christopher Sabat just pops off, and like, I don't know, I literally read this in like the Christopher Sabat All Might voice. I don't know how y'all read manga. Occasionally I just read it flat toned. I don't know. I've listened to some of the dub and some of the sub, but I don't actually have their voices locked into my head. But for some reason, for this line, I heard the full "step aside. That boy has gone through a lot more than I ever have, and yet he still admires me. If anything happens to him, it'll be when I die." And I love that. Like, it shows that All Might is still stanced up, despite the fact that my man has like absolutely no power. Like, he's literally fodder right now. He still is so down to fight for Midoriya because he believes in Midoriya, and I think that's cool. I'm glad that All Might is still out and about, and I love that due to probably just like the presence of his voice and the lack of fear in All Might's eyes, like the two assassins that came to kill him, once again a frail old man, are backing up. They're stumbling, they're faltering away. They're like, whoa, what the heck? It's like All Might has that piece on him, but I don't think he even does. He just has a briefcase and a phone, but it doesn't matter because it's All Might, the menace. And I love this. I love how Horikoshi isn't afraid to show how ramifications, like, once again, the world in My Hero Academia is so good, because in a lesser developed world, there wouldn't be any reaction like this. All Might may have had a cool speech and then like a fight would begin. But no, because of how the impact of All Might was, how massive it was, no matter what state he himself is physically in, he is still a present threat. He always feels bigger than he is because he's more of a symbol than a man, and I think that works. Then we cut back to Midoriya versus Lady Nagant. And the thing is, Midoriya is doing the zigzag, trying to get to a trajectory, which makes sense. He's trying to get up to that building. However, once again, I can't tell if he's using float or just the speed, but regardless, I love this panel of, like, you can see Midoriya hopping through buildings, like bursting, zipping around. I really love this. Like, thing is, I always was super invested in the idea of All for One on its own. Before all the extra quirk stuff was introduced, before all this extra stuff was put on top of it, I was super intrigued to just see Midoriya get better and better at being like superhuman in a sense, like him being able to use all the techniques that All Might use just on his own, like the ability to zip through areas through pure speed, the better understanding of mobility and stuff like that. I love all that personally, and I'm super happy that we get to see it. Do I think all the other quirks are cool? I mean, I'm still not the biggest fan of the like 7 or 8 other quirks within One for All. No, I think it's just 7 because Midoriya is the 9th user, and the initial quirk, yeah, All Might didn't have a quirk. So I still love the idea that the base quirk is being so useful, just like the power amplification, because that's what I'm assuming this is. I don't think this is Midoriya using like any of the other quirks. He's just using his pure speed and power, which I wish we had to see Midoriya master that, and then if you really want to give him extra quirks, he could have all the extra stuff. But I guess we're already in extra quirk world, so I'm just gonna live with it. And the thing is, we see that Midoriya, despite moving around as like cautiously and fast as he is, instantly gets shot anyway. Like, he's still forced to work around. And I love, another thing I love how Danger Sense is portrayed here. You can see his natural movement is portrayed in that similar like lightning-like format. This is Midoriya just zipping around because of the bioelectrical energy that comes off of him. But also, due to the nature of Danger Sense being a part of One for All, it has that same bioelectrical energy strike. Like, he can see, or if not he can see, maybe he can't see it, but as in visual storytelling, you can tell that this white line that cuts through the page, cuts through panels, is Danger Sense warning Midoriya. Then you see the bullet, and then Midoriya kicks it away because of the reaction of Danger Sense. I love how it's portrayed artistically. I love how well like Horikoshi is sort of melding them together to the point where he doesn't always have to say which one it is. You're just able to tell because of how it's interacting. I like that a lot. It's very, very cool to me. But then we see that Midoriya, he still gets hit anyway. Like, he got outplayed. He deflects the first bullet, like he kicks it away. But the second one, his Danger Sense just couldn't kick in time. He couldn't react, and it shoots him, I think, like directly through the abdomen. Like, he is shot dead in the stomach, I'm pretty sure. And if not, it's like flat across the stomach, and that's still very, very bad. And the thing is, Midoriya is using that big old brain of his. He's figuring out the idea that, oh, wait a minute, this may not be her having backup, because this is still the same kind of bullet that just pierced me. She could have gotten assistance not from someone else, but from All for One, the guy who can gift quirks. And that means it's entirely possible that she's going somewhere else. And I think that's cool that Midoriya is like making these leaps and assumptions now. Like, he's starting to, once again, he's starting to develop into the main character that I want to, at least on the strategical side. Maybe not on the emotional side, but in terms of like being a boy who was quirkless for so long, having to think outside the box to survive, him being able to leap to these quicker, faster, on top of things scenarios, and not just having the willpower, or no, he still has the willpower obviously, but not just having to raw power through everything. I think that's cool. I love seeing it. And I like this panel of Lady Nagant just like using airwalk, which I guess she just has pure practice with, like she's already a natural master of it. But a thing that I wish was still like, I know this is just like something I came up with, it doesn't mean it has to happen, but I thought, at least based on how Lady Nagant was firing before, that her quirk wouldn't be as effective in mid-air. But no, she seems just as competent with it in mid-air, doesn't seem to have any recoil, which is kind of, I mean, it's interesting enough, I guess, but man, I would have preferred if like she was still on a learning curve with it, because I don't think it's been that long, but maybe it has. Actually, it could have been pretty long, multiple months. So I don't really know. I guess she's just developed pure mastery of it by this point and has managed to manage the recoil. I don't know. It's very, very interesting. We're in an interesting point when it comes to where this fight is going in terms of Lady Nagant versus Midoriya and their technical mobility and their ability to use their offensive capabilities in midair. But now Midoriya is realizing if she does have free mobility, that means he can never actually track her down. Like, he needs to make sure that he is out of the way and safe, because he's technically never out of the way and safe. As long as she can see him, and as long as she can keep moving, he's never going to catch her, because he's going to be chasing where the last shot was fired, and by the time that he starts chasing the last shot that's fired, she's going to be somewhere else. And to avoid this, he activates Smokescreen at full power. And the thing is, Lady Nagant is apparently only able to see with a clear shot, which makes sense, but like, as revealed, she has a scope on her eye or something like that. I thought she was like insane, like could see through the shadow of the smoke, but this is actually really thick smoke, so I could completely understand why she didn't see it. But I love how she also backs up to get more range, because that's her. I feel like, once again, this is like me, it's just assuming a whole ton of things, but I love how a natural long-range person's instinct isn't to like get in and get closer on the scenario, even though that's what Midoriya predicted. Like, obviously she would want to get in for a point-blank barrage, so she doesn't have to worry about like curving her shots and worry about trajectory anymore, being so predictive. But naturally it's in her nature to back up, because she needs to get more range, get a better understanding of the situation. I like that. It's very, very cool. And you see Midoriya, he's starting to get criticized by the Smokescreen user, the 6 user, who's like, hey yo, I told you not to do this, that's too much smoke, you're gonna burn yourself out. And the thing is, Midoriya's like, don't worry, I'm not gonna burn myself out, I'm not gonna waste any time, I'm just gonna go crazy. And by that, he's going to use the next quirk that he unlocked, or well, the third quirk, which is a big energy burst, like an internal boost of energy, which I'm assuming is like, I guess it's just like him flickering up to a higher percentage of One For All. And what I mean by that is, like, he already has the base strength amp, but this acts as like another amp on top of that, at least with how the translation explains it. Like, it's called Fajin, and the translator's note says the third quirk is an explosive release of internal power, similar to a move in Chinese martial arts. I'm assuming that has to do with like him, like, I've read out of high school, there's a move where Jin Mori does where he like de-links his knees or something like that, and he moves way faster than he should be able to. Something along those lines. I don't know martial arts, so I can't really explain it properly. But I'm assuming that's what this third quirk is along the lines of. So what Midoriya plans to do is bait her out to try and decipher her location, and while he does that, he can instantly blitz up to her with so much speed that she can't react. And it actually ends up working, because Lady Nagant is still focused on the Smokescreen, obviously, waiting for Midoriya to leave. And man, it's so nasty. Like, I hate that all that's her arm. Like, I get why it's all her arm, but golly, this gotta be disgusting. Like, does the water that it's in the middle of the rainstorm right now, so like, does the water on her arm like recollect back into her body when she closes her arm? Because that looks like flesh, blood, and tissue. It's just, ugh, I can't imagine like looking through my own flesh to get a better shot. Ugh, it's like, her quirk is disgusting to me, I'm not gonna lie. But we see her get baited, like she gets baited by these multiple little, these almost look like black whip constructs that are just running around. Like, maybe it's just me, but like, if I look at the panel, it seems like he has Gran Torino's cape out as a decoy, but when Lady Nagant shoots it with the quickness, it's a sort of like the cape goes flying, but there isn't a Midoriya there, or it's not just the cape alone, it's actually like a black whip construct. And then they all leave in different directions. And I don't know, I find it hilarious that Lady Nagant says, how impudent, because I instantly think of Escanor, I'm not gonna lie. But she's firing all these weird black whip like constructs. First it's Midoriya's backpack, then it's his helmet, then it's something else we don't even get to see. And then she's like, you can't just hide in a smoke screen and expect to get away from me. And the thing is, I don't know how Midoriya hears her. Like, I know it's just supposed to be a cool moment, I'm not supposed to consider the logistics of this, but like, Midoriya popping up out of a whole building, like, there's no way on this planet he heard of that. Unless the second user's quirk has like some hearing amplification thing. Like, bruh, you were inside a whole building. There's no way you heard what she said. What? No way. Maybe that's in response to like what the earlier One For All users were saying to him. But even still, no, it's like, I know it's supposed to be cool, but it's kind of dumb to me. But regardless of that, Midoriya catches her, he blitzes her, and bada bing bada boom, he has her in hand. And not gonna lie, Lady Nagant, if that boy uses like, I know you're strong, you're probably very strong, but if that boy uses even 20%, your arm's gone, or at least it should be gone. Like, he should easily be able to snap you right now. but Midoriya's too nice of a guy, so he may just knock you out, which could also reasonably kill you. That man has metal shoes on, I'm pretty sure. I think he still has the metal iron soles, so he could very still easily mess you up permanently. But we are going to talk about the logistics of that. Midoriya has gotten her. Now, here's the thing to talk about this chapter in Pacific. In Pacific? What? I'm not in an ocean right now. But a few things to note are, one, Endeavor is very likely on the way. All Might made that backup call for some reason. It's obviously, I'm assuming that E phone is an actual phone, and he called up Endeavor. What does this mean? I think the top 3 are going to get there to save All Might. Specifically All Might. And I think, actually, you know what? No. I feel like Endeavor and Best Jeanist may go to help All Might, while Hawk, someone with better aerial mobility, will be focused on going to save Midoriya from Lady Nagant, because he doesn't know the status of Midoriya right now. He just assumes, oh no, Lady Nagant is attacking Midoriya, or well, no, Midoriya is under attack and he has no way to contact us. So I feel like he's going to be going after Midoriya and like the aerial sense, while Endeavor and Best Jeanist are going to go help out All Might, who mainly seems to be bluffing. Like, unless he's got that piece on him in that suitcase, I don't think he's going to do much good against these two guys, especially with their whole Thunder Spheres. I know they're falling back, they're collapsing out of fear, because, it's All Might, but at the same time, All Might, I mean, I think you're still fodder, bro. Like, outside, once the bravado fades away, you're still getting clapped up. So I think All Might may be struggling, but then out of nowhere, Best Jeanist and Endeavor are going to come in. Best Jeanist may restrain them by their clothes, or Endeavor may just be like, bring the heat, and just wash them away. So I think All Might's going to be fine. I don't think this is his time to die, ironically enough. And then we get to see Nagant versus Lady Midoriya. Nagant versus Lady Midoriya. What did I just verbalize? Lady Nagant versus Midoriya. This fight ended a lot... Actually, not really. Not a lot quicker than I expected. Mainly because I expected Midoriya to, like, blitz rush her immediately. So this fight ended in the exact same way I expected it to. Only difference is Lady Nagant is a lot more comfortable with her second quirk than I thought she'd be. And that's cool, but I feel like she's going to get... She may get hard written out of the narrative, because now that Midoriya is at point blank range with such speed and efficiency, she can't, unless she can like shrink her rifle arm down massively, I don't think she's going to be able to redirect herself well enough to stop Midoriya. Like, he has full range mobility. He could literally activate float right now, punch her in the jaw, and she's done, son. But meanwhile, her quirk is focused so much on close range that I don't think she's going to be able to do much. I don't know, unless, because she would literally have to like full turn her arm around and then like bend her arm, which I'm not even sure she can do right now, because at least, let me take a look at the initial panel earlier in the chapter. I think, yeah, her arm becomes the rifle at like her elbow joint. So reasonably she could bend it. She reasonably could bend the whole thing. But even still, I don't think she would have like the required mobility in the way that Midoriya grabbed her. I don't think she was going to have the proper mobility to reposition herself to actually shoot Midoriya. So I think their fight's done. But this is where I think she's going to start using overall as bait, essentially. She's going to be like, hey, yo, wait, before you take me out, I need you to help somebody. And Midoriya, in his superheroic nature, is going to be like, I mean, you're a villain, but who do you want me to help? And then she's going to guide him back to overhaul. Because I don't see how this fight can really continue as a fight, considering how close range it's gotten. And how little her mobility seems to be based, and how much her arm specifically needs to be in full-on rifle size / shape to be fully efficient. But who knows? Maybe I could be completely wrong. Maybe she's able to like shrink it down into smaller scopes and then turn it and then shoot. But even then, I think, does she need both hands to shoot? Because she's constantly, I think she just needs the second hand to aim. So honestly, if she's that close range, she could just turn it, shrink her arm, and shoot. But even still, I feel like it's not worth it. I think she's going to go on and let Midoriya go. Not let Midoriya go, but manipulate Midoriya in some way, shape, or form. Because I don't think she's, like, at the same time, she shouldn't be written out of the narrative this quickly, but it's not the first time a cool villain with a proper, interesting backstory, or lack thereof, with the capability to have a proper, interesting backstory, has been introduced in My Hero Academia, only to get fodderized in a couple chapters, and then just not really be useful anymore. But I feel like this is going to lead directly to Overhaul, because it's moving pretty fast. And I think either Lady Nagant can't get written out of the story this quickly, or she is getting written out of the story, and we're going back to Overhaul. We can basically continue the gauntlet of Midoriya running into his old foes. So I'm very, very intrigued. Next chapter should be super interesting to watch, mainly for the fact that we're going to be in a situation where All Might's in big trouble, even though he's scaring off these two guys. He's still in big trouble because he's still just a regular dude as far as we know. And we have Midoriya with Lady Nagant at hand, but Lady Nagant could have a trick up her sleeve or two, because she does have those weird little things on her pouch, on like her waist. Like she has those little containers, so we don't know what those are. That could be something. She could just shrink her arm down and shoot Midoriya. We're still in a very precarious situation, and I like that. The main thing I like about this chapter, before I let y'all go, is Midoriya being more and more intelligent. Even if it's using a quirk that he's never used before perfectly on the first try, it's whatever, because it's Midoriya using all the tools he has in a scenario, from smokescreen to his mobility to danger sense to all that. He's using every single tool he has in the most efficient way possible to take out a threat, and I love it. I love it when characters think before they act, and that thinking works, obviously, because there are times where a character thinks before they act and still get body bagged, and that's not fun. Just think of Mumble during the joint training arc. Like, when she was training against Class B, that wasn't fun to see. Like, Mumble do all that thinking only for it to fail. But to see Midoriya succeed using that big old brain of his, I'm happy. I like it. Now, Midoriya, I just need you to go through some permanent emotional scarring, please. Please do that for me, and then we're good to go. Then you're a top tier character. But regardless, super interesting chapter. Honestly, considering the only real issue I have is that Midoriya instantly manages to master the third Sfajin so quickly and use it so effectively, even though this is the first time he's tried to use it. Like, he hasn't even conceptualized it yet. This is just off the cuff, bada bing, bada boom, I can use the third's quirk. But outside of that, like, Midoriya is supposed to be a super genius anyway. Like, he's supposed to be able to master things on first try, and who knows, maybe this isn't the perfect use of Fajin. It just happened to work very, very well in this scenario. And if that's so, that's super cool. I'm completely fine with it, and I can't wait to see what the next chapter holds. Really, I give this chapter, like, outside my one like chunky little nitpick, I'd give it a full on 9 to 10 out of 10, just because of, I love how All Might's presence is still being used as a credible threat, because he was a credible threat for so long. It makes sense people would be scared of him. I like seeing Midoriya think. I love seeing Midoriya's new mobility and his ability to assess situations. It's cool to see Lady Nagant in action as just the menace that she is, firing off left and right with no problems at all. It's cool to see Midoriya succeed when he uses a plan, when he uses the thinking. He's not just raw overpowering people anymore. He's actually using both power, brains, and brawn to outpower and outthink his opponent. I like that. I think everything's very, very good in this chapter. 9 to 10 out of 10. Solid chapter, super solid. Only thing I have is the third's quirk. That's it. But other than that, I think the chapter is great. What do you guys think? Please tell me in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you hit the little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is that guy with the pencil, writing off.